issues derailed me really at the end. So I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes wrapping up and taking any questions. I'm sure I lost everybody who was on the original stream because I got dumped. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. It's my Wi-Fi. I don't know. Some issue where I get doesn't really disconnect me, but then I don't know. Disconnect. Something happens and it says that, or it was telling me I was connected to my Wi-Fi but no internet. None of my other devices were having issues with the internet. Just my PC, my laptop. I had to kind of dig into Windows a little bit, and I went through the troubleshooter, and the troubleshooter said, "Hey, it fixed something," and then I got internet back on my laptop. Back on here, I don't have to figure something out about it because this is maybe the third time that I've gotten these weird internet outages and kind of around the same period of time, and I don't know why, and it is supremely frustrating. One of the things that happens is when I do these as events, I'm using Restream, so I'm kind of broadcasting across a few bands and setting up the events is really nice, but at some point the event ends and there's no way for me to pick up the event again. So everything becomes discombobulated. I end up having to create a new stream to come on here and kind of finish this. And hopefully some folks who are watching the last stream can get in here. I really don't even, I'm so frustrated by what's happening. I don't really even remember what I was talking about in the other stream to pick up the bits and pieces. I know folks that asked me about creating my own wandering monster tables, which I do. I know I had mentioned I had mentioned creating. Oh, I think I was getting into creating an adventure for the creature you're encountering. So the idea behind this was to think of these creatures your party's encountering as being on their own adventures. I'd gone through this towards the beginning of the stream. You can go back into the other video and rewatch that. What I was getting into now is I thought about, well, there's the D30. Let's see if I can bring it up here. The D30 Sandbox Companion has that in it. And adventure, essentially you can create your own adventure. It's one of the first tables in the book. Let me see if I got the book open now. I think it might actually be the first one. No, well, so we got some worksheets. Yep, it is. It's actually table number 1. Let me see if I can pull it up. Hold on 1 second. Source type. Now I want to screen share. So let's see, share the screen. Actually, I'll share a window. Yep. See how this works. Whoop. Let me just window, view, put it into read mode to get rid of that stuff. So you can see here. Oh, it's trying to get rid of some of that garbage. Oh, hell, I'll try this. Okay, that's about as good as I can get. So you have you run into a creature. You can do this with animal creatures too, though I feel like with the animal creatures, the motivations are a little bit interesting. Tank Pal says, "Woot, I'm back." Yes, I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm going to try to figure out why I'm getting these little internet outages at the exact wrong moment. With animalistic, simple creatures, you can think about it's going to be, hunger, reproduction. So that, right, there's very kind of a few motives. With intelligent creatures, we can try to build something for them. Tank passes with the adventure table. Yes, so I pulled up the adventure table here. I went through this on that D30, the D30 Sandbox Companion video, which you can stream, which you can check out on the channel. Let's see, it's got two tables here. So this is rather a lot of rolling. And this is really, right, this is not designed for this purpose. I'm thinking about, well, if you wanted to use this for a slightly different purpose, but if you think about that, it's always said about villains, right? Villains are the heroes of their own story. Well, all these creatures your party are running into, they are the adventurers in their own game. As if you imagine that they are being run through their own adventure, and the party is the random wandering monster. So think about, well, what are they doing? So you can use this. Now, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, when I got cut, I was kind of going through, well, if I wanted to take this idea, but for me, simplify it a bit, because I might be, A, this is rolling a lot of dice. B, I don't know if I need all this specificity. It's good to have in the background, but I can think of maybe just for the purposes of creating sort of a context for a wandering creature, what are the kind of things that they're doing? They are, you usually are you looking for someone, looking to go somewhere, looking to get something. And then you can think about the inverses of those. They're looking to get away from someone, looking to get away from somewhere, looking to get away from something, right? So you can call that a 1d6, right? You're just going to roll one of those, and then you can get more granular if you feel like you need to have some more inspiration for what the thing, the place, or the individual is, or the creature, or whatever they're running away from, but or to or from. But you can pull again. That's where you can pull the context of everything else that's going on. Right? If you've done things like established, there's a dragon here, or there's owl bears here, or what are the party doing here? I think this is where that stuff is. Look at it like, okay, well, what are those? Here I have all these elements in place. How do those elements inform these other things in the area? So if the party had been tasked with rescuing the prince from the kobolds, then when they run into something, say a small troop of bugbears, then the context I'm going to look at is how does this bugbears dealing? How do these bugbears fit in with the kobolds and their plot, and maybe what's behind the kobolds, depending on what I've prepped and everything that's going on, and then that's going to be that context. So that's how I would work it. If you just are running into it and you're flat, then maybe you can use more details. But I think in general, I just want to get an idea of one of those six things. Then you can look at the second table, which here you see on the adventure table. I'm not sure if it's too small to read, but you can see it's got a table that's obstacle to goal, and they have a bunch. But I think you could probably drill down to just a few, which is, it's almost the same, right? Another creature is the obstacle. The location is the obstacle, or there's something is the obstacle. And that thing could be a physical obstruction or obstacle. Okay, there's a huge wall we have to scale, so now we need to find stuff to scale it. Or it could be that there's an object that, there's a magic field that's blocking them, so they're going to need, an object, right? Or location could be, those things could, you could count the wall as sort of a location, or you can think of a location of it's the travel aspect. You're meeting them here, but they are trying to hustle over to wherever it is they're going, because that's where their goal is. And that's just another kind of 2d6 table, or a second table of 1d6. So right now we've got two tables. We're rolling two dice. And I think in my brain I had a third table, but now I'm kind of lost my train of thought a little bit. I did write a couple things down. I'm just going to check my notes briefly. And the other one I had thought of earlier was when. So something I didn't talk about earlier in the encounters, and I guess it will give me something to chat about now for a few minutes, is that time aspect. We talked at the very beginning of creatures, how far away they are. Another one is, when did this happen? So you can think of another way to add, especially for that investigative exploration elements, is the owlbear passed through the woods, but those tracks are a week or so old, or the stool is a week old. Now, again, it makes it a different kind of encounter. Now you're not worried about the owlbear itself showing up. Okay, it could come back around, and you can talk about, hey, this looks like a commonly used game trail that maybe this owlbear uses often, but it turns it into more of an exploration or investigation. Well, an owlbear was here. Do we follow this trail? Do we follow this trail in the way it looks like it's going, thinking it's leading us back to its lair, or something else? Do we follow it the other way, thinking that it's going from its lair somewhere? Maybe the tracks go back and forth. We have to make a choice. We have to investigate it. It adds more options. It also lets you play around with, well, I have a ruin, some point of interest that's in this hex. Maybe this trail leads to that ruin. If they follow it, they'll get there. It's somewhere the owlbear went to for whatever reasons. Maybe the owlbear's lair is there. Maybe the owlbear just made a kill there. Maybe the owlbear was just passing through there. But it lets me tie that element in. Just adding that time element changes the whole nature of the encounter. If you say, hey, there's a tribe of kobolds that's 80, 90 feet in front of you, that's one thing. If you say the tribe of kobolds was camped 90 feet in front of you, but that looks like it's 3 days old, that changes things. Does the party worry about, well, where are they heading to? Are they heading to where we were going? Are they heading to the town where we came from? Do we need to worry about sending messages back, or is it too late? Changes the whole nature, and it turns that encounter into more of a thought puzzle. And I wouldn't say a puzzle, because there's not necessarily a wrong answer, but it changes it from just a simple, again, fight or flight kind of procedure into, what do we do with this information? How do we use this information? Tank Pal says he uses a motivation table that has 6 options. Well, what are your 6 options? Motivations are another good one, right? You can have, why are you trying to get it? You can think of your emotions: love, hate, fear, hunger. I guess love and desire could be the same. Maybe you keep them separate. Maybe instinct is another one. If you look at, with animals and the way they're drawn to certain things, because, like the way birds will follow some kind of magnetic fields back to where they lay their nests, right? That they're doing this. It's kind of below or deeper than any kind of choices. Tank Pal says hunger. Hunger is a definite good one. But we can think about, and if you have this adventure table, simplifying it, if you want to add something to it, like he's saying about motivations, if you want to add other things to it, if you want to make it more detailed. I mean, ultimately, you could use an adventure generator, this one or another one, to do that. It does take a little bit more time, and especially the bigger the table you use, the more complex the table, the more time it will take. However, the upshot is that you're giving these things reasons to be there. And I think that when you give the party context, when you give your creatures context, and I feel like I've said this a few times during this stream, and I'm sure I've said it before, it just opens up that decision space, because it's going to get it. You are going to play as a GM. You are going to imbue those creatures with that context you built up, which is going to make them feel dynamic, feel different, and feel less one note. If you know that this group of goblins is trying to get home because they'd gone out on a hunt and they'd finally caught something, and they're the ones that are left in their home are starving if they don't get back there, that drastically changes how they're going to react to the party. They might do a couple things, right? They might split up, and okay, some of them are going to fight, some of them are going to run with the food. They might just not even fight. Like, hey man, if any of them speaks common or whatever, the human tongue or humanoid tongue or whatever the party's speaking, say, listen, we're not your enemy here. We're going to give you some gold because we're just trying to tell you we need to get home. It's not our fight. Or they could just be super desperate and aggressive, thinking we're just going to break through and we're just going to run because we need to get back home. And that's going to feel very different than another group of kobolds who had either just ransacked a place, or maybe they're the ones who escaped from some other set of adventurers who ransacked their home. That's going to feel very different. It's going to feel very different if these guys are on patrol, that they have a stronghold and they're just patrolling. These are guard patrols, basically, just just walking the perimeter of their territory. That's going to feel very different. And the party's going to pick up on that stuff. And I think they will, once they can pick up on these different motives and motivations and ideas for what the creature's doing, what they want, what they need, then that opens up things for them. If the party runs across these kobolds that look like they're starving, look like they're hungry, they've got food with them, they look like whatever, then the party, they're, hopefully is thinking, how can we uses to our advantage or not, or not to our advantage. But I mean, I don't mean that they have to then try to jam the kobolds and make them pay to get through. But how can they feel out the situation and use this information to their advantage, which I think will often lead them to other conclusions than just fighting or running away. Tank Pal says he also used activity table, which is kind of what you're talking about: camping, traveling, fighting, dying, searching, hiding, fleeing. Yes. I've seen a bunch of those, right? If those activities help you, right, all the tools, right? They're all about what works for you. I will think about the time of day and other things. So they run across a guy. It's late afternoon. He's out in the woods. He's probably trying to camp out, or maybe he's trying to run home, or something else, right? That gives me an idea of, okay, what are they doing? It makes sense that they're camping. If it's 11 a.m., my brain is going, well, he's probably not camping. He's probably traveling. If he's somewhere around where his base is, temporary or permanent, maybe he's hunting, gathering, taking a nap, whittling wood. I don't know, right? I'll use it like that. But for you, if you need or you want more information that helps you, then yes, I think you can. And you could find all kinds of tables. And it's fairly easy. I think we could sit here and just riff off our own, right? As Tank Pal listed. Okay, we've got camping, traveling, fighting, dying, searching, hiding, or fleeing, right? There's 6. You got a 6-sided die right there, right? We listed off motivations: hunger, curiosity, fear, greed, aid, territoriality. That's 6. You could swap out a few different ones if you want to. If you wanted a D8 or something, you could swap out more of these. Tank Pal says, a lot of the time these tables are inspiration for me rather than actually rolling. Yeah, you can do that too. Yeah, I think put it in the moment, right? Because this is all meta stuff. It's not in the fiction yet. See, I feel like there's 2, and I want to do a whole video on this, but I feel like the GM basically has kind of 2 roles that are merged into one. One is sort of world creator, and one is referee. Before stuff hits the fiction, hits the table, is transmitted to the players, you're in that world creator mode. So if you want to take a troglodyte and like Zeus in Clash of the Titans, like he does to Calabos, and kind of remold that troglodyte into something else, right? You can do that. Once you plunk it in the arena, to me, then I move into that kind of ref mode where now I'm stopping messing with it because it's been placed in terra firma, kind of now it's set. So all that time before stuff is hit, if it makes sense for you, if you can just read something and something speaks to you, oh, camping, or dying, that perfectly fits what I want, bam, lay that out there. If none of those seem to fit, rolling dice, can help sometimes. Having the dice make a decision for you is good, but it's still like in the ether. Right? I always feel like there's a difference between the stuff. It's like the clay that hasn't been molded yet, or it hasn't been fired yet. So you could still mess around with whatever you want, and at some point you kind of lock it into place. Bam, you put it in there. I think the more you build up the stuff around it, the easier it'll be. I got a jet. I'm sorry again that the stream got split yet again. So if you're just catching now, there are 2 parts. Go back and watch the other part. I do cover a little bit of the same grounds, trying to recover from another internet issue. I'm going to try to figure out why those keep happening. If you enjoy this stuff, please give me the thumbs up. Helps a lot. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe. It helps me out. Again, helps me out a lot. And then you'll get notified whenever I do these streams. I'm trying to do these streams every weekday. So this is Monday, so I'm going to try to be. I've been on a pretty good streak. I took a break over the 4th of July. I took a Monday off, but I think I've done them each time since then. I will kind of mix up what I talk about. If you have topics, I have a community tab now that I'm over 1,000 subscribers. Thank everybody for subscribing. I can now post stuff in the community tab on my channel on YouTube, so you can hang out over there, and I might post polls and things like that. I do have a Patreon and a coffee page if you'd like to contribute in that way. But have a great rest of your day. I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow. Tank Pals has had a nice time. Talk to you again soon. Absolutely. Thanks, everybody. Again, sorry for the technical difficulties. Game on. Ciao.